Somewhere in your home, there's a cardboard box. Turn it over and look at the bottom flap. There's a circle printed there, black ink, about the size of a coaster. You've seen it 1,000 times and probably assumed it was the factory's logo. It isn't. That circle is a signature. A company put its name on that box and its city and made a binding promise about how much weight it can carry. If the promise is wrong, it can be used against them. Nobody forced them to print it. There's no law requiring that circle. It's entirely voluntary. Welcome to Breakdownz, the story behind everything. Today we're reading the circle on the box. The circle names the box maker, the city and state of the plant, the construction of the board, a strength rating, a size limit, which is the length, width, and depth added together in inches, and a gross weight limit. That's all. It doesn't say where the box has been. It doesn't rate how far it's allowed to travel. It never has. Why would a box need to swear an oath? Because there was a time when nobody trusted cardboard. In 1871, a New Yorker named Albert Jones patented corrugated paper as packing material. Within a few years, others added flat sheets to either side, and corrugated board existed. The railroads didn't want it. If you shipped goods in America, you shipped them in wood. Because a broken box meant a damage claim, the railroad had to pay. Corrugated boxes were finally authorized in 1906, but with a catch. The railroads charged a higher rate to ship in them, a penalty for being distrusted. It took 8 years to undo. In 1914, the Interstate Commerce Commission ruled that fiber boxes moved no differently than wooden ones, and the penalty came off. Cardboard had won, but on a condition. It had to prove it could take a wooden crate's punishment. Every box built to the new standard carried a mark saying so. The circle was that mark. Never a decoration. A passport. For most of the 20th century, that proof meant one test. Clamp the board down, pump pressure until it ruptures. That's the burst rating. But bursting is about puncture, something sharp coming through the wall. It says almost nothing about what boxes actually spend their lives doing, sitting at the bottom of a stack with a ton of other boxes on top. So in 1991, the trucking industry's classification body approved a second certification, the edge crush test. Stand the board on end, crush it, rate it in pounds per inch. Here's the contested part. A birth certificate requires a minimum amount of paper. The edge crush certificate doesn't, because that strength comes from the shape of the flutes, not the mass of the liner. A box maker could hit the same rating with less board. Supporters called it progress. Critics said boxes got thinner. Both were arguing about the same circle. And the rules behind that stamp were never federal law. They belonged to trade associations, not to Congress. No statute requires that circle unless the box carries hazardous materials or is sold to the government. So why print it? Because once you print it, you're on the hook. The circle names the manufacturer and asserts compliance. If the box doesn't meet the claim, that's a false statement made by a company you can identify about a product it sold. Some shippers leave the circle off deliberately, not to cut corners, but to avoid promising anything. Which brings us to your front door. Look at an Amazon box. There's probably no circle on it. That isn't cheating. The certificate was built for freight, for pallets and rail cars and damage claims where somebody has to prove the packaging was adequate. Parcel isn't that world. One box on a conveyor dropped on a porch. What replaced it doesn't fit in a circle. Amazon and the parcel industry moved to transit simulation testing, taking the finished, loaded package and dropping it, shaking it, crushing it, to see whether the thing inside survives. A better test. Completely invisible. There's no stamp for it. So that mark on your bottom flap is a 100-year-old argument settled in ink. The moment paper had to prove it was as good as wood. and the receipt it has carried ever since. Not because anyone is watching, because somebody was willing to sign it. Next time a box arrives, turn it over. Read the name in the ring. That's a factory in a real city that put its reputation on a piece of paper you were about to throw away. If you found this interesting, hit like, share it with the person who never breaks down the boxes, and subscribe to Breakdownz, the story behind everything. Because the most ordinary objects hide the longest arguments. Have a blessed day or night, and I'll see you in the next one.